17 and the NFL regular season is in the books. Let's get to it because I don't have time for this bullshit. Panthers defeating the Falcons 21-20. Falcons had a 10-0 lead, then Matt Ryan throwing the interception changed the momentum. D'Angelo Williams had another good day. Cam Newton had another efficient day. But the Panthers have clinched the NFC South this past Sunday. And the first round bye in the NFC. 12-4. Falcons Falcons season could not end early enough. What a rotten season. 4-12 after going 13-3 a year ago and hosting the NFC Championship game. Now they're now going to be in the top 10 draft lottery or what? Lottery. This ain't the NBA. Fucking A. But congratulations to Tony Gonzalez as he's now officially retired from the National Football League. Damn, I wish he won that Super. Damn, that's too bad he didn't get a Super Bowl ring. But he's definitely going to Canton. Giants defeating the Redskins 20-6. Only thing memorable is Mike Shanahan's last game with the Redskins, as we all know by now. Of course, Eli Manning actually got injured during the game. Twisted his ankle a little bit, didn't even return for the second half. So does that count as a season-ending injury? Because the Giants didn't go to the playoffs this year, obviously, and there's just one more game left. Does that count as a season-ending injury? I'm just kidding, of course. Calm down. But this is also London Fletcher's final game. In the National Football League. Congratulations to him. Alright, Steelers defeat the Browns to keep their playoff hopes alive for the time being. 20-7. And by the way, Giants are 7-9. Redskins 3-13. Obviously Shanahan's worst season ever as an NFL head coach. But now back to the Steelers, who are now 8-8. The Browns going 4-12 after starting 3-1. Or 3-2, excuse me. So yeah, they did lose 10 of the last 11 games after the 3-2 start. I still disagree with the bullshit firing. I'm sorry, it's just what the fuck. But Roethlisberger did not have necessarily had a great game. Game. Let me repeat that. Roethlisberger did not necessarily have a great game. Throwing a couple of interceptions, but then again, when you're facing the Cleveland Browns, you don't need to worry about playing great all the time. Just kidding. But the Steelers, for the time being, still alive for the playoffs. Would they get that playoff berth if San Diego lost? We'll just wait and see about that. But anyway, moving on. Texans have won the first overall pick in the 2014 draft as they lose to the Titans 16-10. And Matt Schaub finally threw an interception, but that would be considered doing his job because they weren't supposed to win that game anyway. The owners wanted the Texans to lose so they could get that quarterback and bullshit like that. And that's all that was. And that's all that was when they put in Case Keenum. Which is funny, though, because Case Keenum actually played very, very well. You know. But yeah, it was obvious that Case Keenum was set up to fail from the get-go. But in any event, and they just hired their new coach, Bill O'Brien. You remember him, right? He was the guy that got into a shouting match with Tom Brady a couple years ago, which happened to be against the Redskins. I remember that one. That was awesome. Anyway, but yeah, the Texans improved to 7-9. Titans improved to 7-9. The Texans fall to 2-14, and obviously 14 straight losses to end the season. Wow. Vikings defeat the Lions 14-13. Lions, once again, another losing season. A very disappointing one because they had everything aligned for them, and they still fuck it up in a major fucking way. Whatever there. But congrats to the Vikings, but they're going to be looking for new head coaches, both of them now. Jets defeat the Dolphins 20-7. Wow. They couldn't get the job done. Dolphins could not get the job done, huh? And it's not like they were facing tough competition the last two games. They were facing Buffalo and the Jets. Nothing against the Jets, nothing against the Buffalo Bills, but come on. Those weren't necessarily good football teams. Oh, but the Dolphins game was too... But the Bills game was too cold out, and... Oh, you gotta cry me a fucking river. You played the Jets at home. What was your excuse there? It's almost as if they didn't want the 6th seed. What the fuck ever there? Dolphins fall to 8-8. Jets improved to 8-8. And Rex Ryan will be coming back for at least one more season. Hey, people thought the Jets would win just 2 games, including me. So hey, and the Jets finally won 2 games in a row. I didn't think we'd see that all fucking season, but whatever. The way the season's been going. All right, Bengals defeating the Ravens 34-17. It was a 17-17 tie at one point. But then Flacco's interceptions kind of took over from that point, and there you go. Although Andy Dalton, if the Bengals are going to win a playoff game for the first time since 1990, Dalton's going to have to cut down on those fucking mistakes. In fact, cut them down to 0. Get rid of them altogether. But the Bengals improved to 11-5, and the Ravens fall to 8-8, and once again, and become the second Super Bowl champion in as many years to not even make the playoffs. So you know what that means also? The other streak continues of defending Super Bowl champions that have not had a playoff win the following season. The last team to do it is still the Patriots in 2005. Colts defeating the Jaguars 30-10. Not memorable, but hey, the Colts improved to 11-5. Jaguars fall to 4-12. I do like what Gus Bradley is doing, though. I'll say that again. Of course, the Jaguars are going to wish that they had the number 1 overall pick, and not Houston. You know. But hey, the Colts. Let's give the Colts credit. They could have stumbled the last 3 weeks after clinching their division. But hey, they didn't. They still kept winning to finish 11-5. Congrats to them. All right, in the late games, Seahawks improving to 13-3 by kicking the Rams' ass, 27-9. There were some interesting moments in that game. As a couple of Ram players getting penalized. In fact, one of them getting ejected. Holy shit! It got pretty chippy late in the second half of that game. But what the fuck ever there. But Seahawks 13-3. Rams fall short of 7-9. So once again, Jeff Fisher falls 1 game short of his master record, 8-8. Rams still suck. End of story. Broncos defeating the Raiders 34-14. Peyton Manning ends the season with 55 touchdowns and to 10 interceptions. He also breaks Drew Brees' record for 477 yards. And the Broncos become the first team in NFL history to score 600 points in a single season. Jesus fucking Christ. A lot of teams are not even scoring 300 points in one season. Or at least barely making that mark. And the Broncos have scored twice as much as that. But of course, it's also a bad sign because we all know that we all know what happens when you have high-scoring offenses in NFL history. It's just simple as that. The Vikings, the Patriots, shit like that. So it does not mean So bottom line is, it doesn't mean Super Bowl. It's a whole different story come playoff time. But here's something Here's something that really bothered me. The fact that the Broncos, I understand the Broncos, they were playing the Raiders, this, that, and the other. They were up 31-0. But the thing that bothered me was the fact that Peyton Manning was pulled in the second half. At the start of the second half. It's like, really? You couldn't let him play another quarter? Fuck was up with that shit? And of course, the Raiders scored 14 points. Outscored the Broncos 14-3, but like I said, the Broncos were playing their backups most of the time. Get the fuck out of here. But the Broncos clinch home field advantage, so they get the number 1 seed. And I forgot to mention that the Seahawks have clinched the NFC West and home field advantage throughout the NFC. And the Raiders fall to 4-12. Back-to-back 4-12 seasons. Wow. Alright, Cardinals losing to the San Francisco 49ers. I know, my bad, San Francisco. But you know what? I'm actually glad the Cardinals lost in some respects, in some ways, because at least I don't have to listen to a bunch of Cardinal fans bitching and complaining about why didn't we get in? The Cardinals went 11-5, and meanwhile. And they're out of the playoffs. And meanwhile, a team like the Packers were 8-7-1, and they're in the playoffs. How does that work? Gee, if the Cardinals swept the St. Louis Rams earlier in the fucking season, they might have had a fucking chance. And hell, they had beaten San Fran today. Although it didn't really fucking matter at this point. More on that in a second. Cardinals finished 10-6, don't make the playoffs, and it's not going to be the popular thing for me to say, but it's the Cardinals' own fault because they didn't take care of business a bit earlier in the fucking season. Simple as that. But the Niners improved to 12-4, sets up a wild card matchup between the 49ers and the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau. I'll tell you why in a second. Chargers defeating the Chiefs 27-24. Chargers beating the Chiefs backups. Although, let's give the backups some credit because they played hard today. They weren't gonna roll over and fucking hand them, the Chargers, the 6th wildcard spot. But the Chiefs could have won the game before overtime. Had Ryan Suckup not missed a chip shot field goal. And I'm not going to get into the new penalty that should have been called because I never even heard of this rule, even though it was implemented this year. But yeah, holy shit there. So the Steelers are out of the playoffs, and of course, it's the Steelers' own fault for the same reason. But you know what, though? At least a team with a winning record has the final wildcard spot. That's, otherwise the league would have been considered mediocre. More so. But the Chargers improved to 9-7. Chiefs fall to 11-5. So since their 9-0 start, or whatever, they've only won 2 games down the stretch. They've lost 5 of the last 7 games. I understand they had everything wrapped up as well as they could wrap it up, but kind of an issue because you don't like teams stumbling into the playoffs. All right, moving on. Patriots defeating the Buffalo Bills 34-20. Patriots improving to 12-4. Buffalo falls to 6-10. I believe it's the same record as last year. Let me say this about Thaddeus Lewis. He is actually better than E.J. Manuel, or Eel Juice Manuel. I'll just say it now. I mean, shit. I've seen Buffalo play. Nothing against EJ, but I just think they're a better. I see Thad Lewis, and I think he's a better quarterback than Eel Juice Manuel. And the reason why I keep calling him Eel Juice Manuel is because everybody's passing him off as this great quarterback. The problem is there's 2 quarterbacks that are better than him: Mike Lennon and Geno Smith. Oh, I say it, Geno Smith. Yeah, I understand Geno Smith led the NFL in turnovers, this, that, and the other, but so what? He's a fucking rookie too, and EJ's a rookie as well. So I'll slow down and not give him too much. But still, moving on. Saints do not clinch the NFC South, but they do clinch the final wild card spot. And I mean final wild card spot because the Niners beat the Cards. But they smashed Tampa Bay 42-17. Drew Brees had a hell of a fucking game. Of course the Saints are a different team when they're indoors. By the way, the Saints are 8-0 at home, as are the Patriots. As are the Bengals. And of course, this was Greg Schiano's last game. That got everybody out of left field. What the fuck was that? Not much to say about that one. All right. And here's why the Packers will be facing the Niners, because the Packers have defeated the Chicago Bears 33-28. Congrats to Green Bay. And hell, they could have ran away with this division had Rodgers not gotten hurt. We all know. Let's call it what it is here. Wow, and of course the Bears blew the lead at the end. Rodgers, and of course Randall Cobb was back as well, and he was a factor in the game because he caught the game-winning touchdown pass. With what, 8 seconds left in regulation? Or I should say the game, because the Bears needed a touchdown. Jay Cutler actually had a pretty good game. But now that the Bears season is over, the questions start to begin. Will Jay Cutler be back? And it's looking like Jay Cutler's even Jay Cutler's probably going to come to the realization that possibility could not fucking happen. And it's a shame because now the Bears have 2 awesome fucking receivers and an awesome fucking tight end. Martellus Bennett played fucking awesome this season. Marshall, we all know about Marshall. And Alshon Jeffrey. I believe he's going to the Pro Bowl this year. I could be wrong, but holy shit. There you go. Alright. In the final regular season game of 2013, the Eagles defeat the Cowboys 24-22. So the Cowboys complete the trifecta, losing to the Giants in 2011, losing to the Redskins last year, and then this year losing to the Eagles. But this time it was at home, but it was also without Tony Romo. let's see, Philly got off to a 10-0 lead with, I believe, a LaShawn McCoy touchdown reception. Then Escobar, the other tight end for the Cowboys, cut the lead. And then, cheat sheet time. Brett Selleck scored with another touchdown to make it 17-7. Holy shit! The Eagles have two really good tight ends. I'm really liking Zach Ertz and Brett Selleck at the two tight end positions. Holy shit! And that's the thing. Chip Kelly, his offense is working. And guess what I saw on that game Sunday? As soon as the game started to end, and of course was starting to come down and wind down, they started running the clock a little bit. I mean, holy shit, because you didn't see that shit early in the season. You know? But in any event, Dallas tried to come back. They tried to chip away at the lead. Nick Foles fumbled the ball in the second half, which cost the Eagles 3 points. But that was the thing. The Cowboys just kept scoring field goals and not touchdowns. And then holy shit. Then in the fourth quarter, Bryce Brown scores a touchdown to go up 24-16. Then Dez the douchebag Bryant caught our touchdown pass. They went to make it 24-22. They went for two, and of course, it didn't fail. Couple of big plays because the Cowboys. Couple of big plays on the Cowboys and the Eagles. Eagles tried to go for it for it on fourth down at one point to put the score up 24-16 earlier. That didn't work. Then the Cowboys had to go for it on fourth down the first time, and then Connor Barwin batted it down at Kyle Orton pass, and that was a huge fucking bat down too. Doing his best impersonation of J.J. Watt, but that's another story. So yeah. And then the Eagles were starting to work clock, but then the final Cowboys possession, when the Cowboys need a score, and they only needed a field goal at that point to win the game. Yeah. But what happens? Kyle Orton throws an interception to seal the deal. To seal the Cowboys' fate. You usually see Romo doing that type of shit, but this time around it was Kyle Orton. So the Cowboys finished 8-8, and the Eagles finished 10-6 after a year ago, going 4-12. All right, before I go, just a couple of thoughts. Two receivers in particular have caught at least 5 catches every single game this season. Pierre Garçon of the Washington Redskins, and who, by the way, led the NFL in receptions, and Antonio Brown of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's right, the fewest passes they have caught in a game were 5. I mean, holy fucking shit. And of course, as I mentioned, Fletcher retires after playing 256 consecutive games. I believe he broke Favre's record, but that's another story. I don't think that's even the record for NFL players anyway, as in general. The whole Favre shit was just an NFL record for a quarterback for consecutive games, but that's another story. But in any event, he surpasses Brett Favre. Okay, before I really go, here are the matchups for Wildcard Weekend. San Fran taking on the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. Philadelphia taking on the Saints, hosting the Saints at Lincoln Financial Field. That should be a good matchup between Drew Brees and Nick Foles. But then again, Nick Foles is just worried about the Saints defense more than, and Drew Brees is worried about the Eagles defense. Then in the AFC, Kansas, a rematch of just a couple weeks ago, Indianapolis Colts and the Kansas City Chiefs. This time it's at Indy. And San Diego at Cincinnati. This is a rematch of another regular season rematch in the wild card round. Those should be very interesting games. All right. Till next time, later, fuckers.